Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Holly, and today I'm going to do these really cute Post-it note dispensers. They're actually pretty easy to make. I have never had a dispenser that I put my Post-it notes in. I just kind of leave the little square pads laying on my desk, and they fly all over. They get mixed underneath paper stacks, and it's pretty much a disaster. So I ordered these from Amazon. I'll link below, and they're heavy. It's like a paperweight, and so when you pop your dispensers in there, your Post-it notes in the dispenser, they won't move all over the place. So I'm gonna give this a try and see if I like it on my desk. I knew I wanted to do glitter, but I also wanted to do some vinyl, and I found this really cute pattern on one of my shelves. I've had it for like a month or maybe more, and it's called Sunshine. It's called Sunset Rise. Let me check on that name. Yeah, I wasn't even close. It's called Sunshine Chaser, and it's from Vinyl Cottage. So what I thought would be really cute is to put the sunrise kind of rising up over that little slit where the Post-it notes would dispense. And so I wanted to line up one of those suns with the center. So I measured it was about 4 inches. So I slapped that sun right in the middle of that measurement. And then I'm going to trim the top a little bit to make sure that it fits, so it doesn't overhang or even go exactly to the edge. I want there to be more of the plastic acrylic piece than there is the vinyl, because when I put my UV resin on, I want it to go over the edge of that vinyl. And same thing with the 2 holes on the top and the 2 holes on the bottom that snap that acrylic piece onto the black base. I'm going to trim back the vinyl away from those openings a little bit more than necessary, as well as that middle slit. So the middle slit, when I was trimming, my craft knife kept wanting to bend a little bit, which was giving me a crooked line. So I used a piece of masking tape to give me a nice straight edge on the bottom, and then pulled the tape up and then continued trimming around the curve of that middle slit. So that was kind of a pain in the butt, but I kind of messed it up the first one. So the second round, I made sure I had that tape and made the edge a little bit cleaner. But I'm going to be putting glitter on it anyway, so that actually gets hidden in the end anyway. So it was no big deal. Once I have the vinyl trimmed back from those 2 openings at the top, as well as the middle slit, then it is time to start picking out my glitters. And I'm going to be applying those with UV resin. So I'm just going to be putting a very light coat on, using my paintbrush to spread it out. And to clean the paintbrush, after I have the UV resin applied, I just spritz some rubbing alcohol on a paper towel and then rub that paintbrush back and forth over the top of the rubbing alcohol until it's clean, and just set it aside. So if you don't put it right in the right where the UV lamp is going to be shining the light on the brush, it won't harden, and especially if you make sure that you clean it really good with the rubbing alcohol. So I'm just going to spread that UV resin on, and then I'm going to start applying my glitters, beginning with a sand color from the Glitter Guy, and I believe it's called Sands of Time. After the Sands of Time, I'm going to apply a blue color from Glitter Heart Co., and then a sort of turquoisey teal color from Glitter Heart Co. also. I originally didn't plan on putting the Sands of Time glitter all the way around the acrylic piece, but when I was looking at it, the bottom half had the glitter that went all the way to the edge, and then the top half only had vinyl, and it looked really weird with the vinyl stopping before the edge, and you could just see clear acrylic. So I decided to go ahead and add the glitter going all the way up and around, rather than just stopping at the bottom half. So I think that was a good decision. In the end, I trim it out nicely, so it looks really pretty. So now it looked like there was too much blue, so I added just a little bit more Sands of Time right over the top of all the colors, just sparsely, to blend it in a little bit better. And then after the application of glitter on top of that UV resin, I popped it under the lamp to cure for about 60 seconds. And then I decided to go ahead and start adding more glitter. I really wanted that middle section of the sun and sort of down around the edge a little bit to pop. And so I put a chunky PDB Creative Studio mix in that, which looked really neat. And that was added to the lower center portion of the sun, and then like a little dome shaped on both the right and left side. And then for the rays coming up, I used Sands of Time. Then I decided to go ahead and add some more color, and so I colored in the rest of the rays and the rest of the sun. And I used, it was called Morning Sun, a really pretty orangey yellow color from Glitter Heart Co. Popped that under the UV lamp one more time. And then my final color is Bashful. It's this pink color, and I just used that to highlight the pastel pink sunrise shades on both the right and the left side of the sun. After all my glitters were finally applied and I wasn't going to add any more glitter at all, I dry brushed both of my acrylic pieces as good as I could, and then I applied UV resin just to the top portion of it where the vinyl was to seal in those glitters and to make sure that whatever I was going to do on the bottom section didn't flow over onto the top. So I'm going to seal that in first, pop it under the UV lamp. And then I just wanted to clean out those little holes to make sure that there wasn't too much resin that was going to harden inside of those and make it difficult for me to snap it back on the acrylic or the black base. So now I'm applying UV resin to the bottom portion of it, trying to avoid those holes as much as possible. I did get quite a bit that fell in there, so I had a good cleanup job to do later. But I need to coat. I want to put not a super thin coat on, but not a super thick coat of UV resin. I want it to be thick enough that when I apply the white wave mix that I prepared, that it wasn't going to stick to any of the glitters that were popping up. I wanted it to move freely with my heat gun to really make it look like waves. So I'm applying the white. This is from Mermaid Trash, the same white I always use for my waves. I think it's the foam from Mermaid Trash. I just mix that in with some UV resin. And now I'm going to blow it out with my heat gun to make those waves move. And then I'm going to quickly grab my UV lamp, place it over the top of the waves before they move anymore, and lock those into position before I begin applying a final coat of UV resin over the entire piece. So I'm just hitting those just like I would on a tumbler, making those waves move, and then when I like the way they look, I'm going to stop quickly and grab my lamp and then lock it in. And then I just went over the whole piece just to make sure that all the extra UV resin is cut out of there, scraped off the edges, made sure I poked out all the little drips from inside those little holes in the center opening, cleaned it up really good, and I did sand a little bit with a 120 grit sanding block. So the edge of these is not like crystal clear, super smooth acrylic. It is sort of a brushed look, which is fine. And if you were super careful not to get any drips over the top of it and didn't have to scrape too much, then you would have a super perfect crystal clear acrylic surface on the edges, but I did not. So after you have all that cleaned up, I am just using a marker it's an acrylic paint marker to go around a metallic paint marker that matches the color of the sand. And I'm just outlining, literally outlining like you would a crayon when you're coloring, all of the edges, making a pretty thick outline. And that is what finished it and made it look really cool and nice and crisp around the edges. And then I'm going to put one more layer of UV resin over the top of it. It'll probably need another one later and sand it down perfectly and get it nice and smooth. I like my UV resin to be as smooth as possible. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to do one more layer of resin and then seal that in, and then these will be nearly done. I'm going to need to sand this and put another layer of UV resin to make it nice and smooth, but just to show you how this works, you take your acrylic piece after the little gaps have been cleaned out, and it snaps really tight on there, and to get it back out, you just use your fingertips and you press on those black little tabs and pull, and it releases. So I need to fill these with Post-it notes. So I have all my Post-it notes at school. I don't have those at home. So this is what it looks like without Post-it notes. From beginning to end, this project only took a couple hours, so if you're looking for something simple to give somebody, this would definitely be it. And who doesn't use Post-it notes? Everybody does. So I'm really happy that I decided to do this, and I'm definitely going to make more with different designs. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments below, and thank you so much for watching.